Bowness, Stephen Wino, Associated Press.
Rick, I'm curious after watching the film, your thoughts on Anton Khudobin, and obviously you mentioned this. He's been a rock for you guys, but is there something he needs to do better? Is there something your team needs to do better in front of him?
We need to play better in front of him. He's been solid. He's been consistent. He's been doing everything you want your starting goaltender to do, give you a chance to win the game. So he doesn't have to do anything better. He doesn't have to do anything different. He just has to keep doing what he's doing. And in terms of our team, it would help him a lot if we didn't make it so easy for the other team to play against us sometimes.
Saad Youssef, The Athletic.
Hey, Rick, you talk about having this focus of one game at a time. What are the things that you have to kind of stray away from that and kind of consider, because of the back-to-back, how you're going to manage Friday and Saturday?
Not worried about Saturday. Worried about tomorrow. Saturday will take care of itself. We'll be doing everything we can to win that game tomorrow. We do not want to fall down 3-1. So Saturday is a whole other discussion that we will have after Friday. But right now, Saturday is the least of our concerns. We're just going to completely focus on tomorrow.
Mike Heika, DallasStars.com.
Hey, Rick, it seems like a lot of the playoffs have been runs. One team will get on a nice run. The other team will get on a nice run. You guys have gotten 3 goals at times. They got them the other night. What's the key to capitalizing on your runs and diminishing their runs?
Well, look at the first period last night. We're creating a lot of chances. You got to hope that sometimes you just tip your hat to the goalie. He made some big saves for them, in particular in the power play. So that's create the chances, do everything we can to score. If he stops it, he stops it. In terms of stopping the runs against us, we just made it too easy for that team to come. It's an elite team. Make it hard for them. Don't give them anything. We gave them obviously the first 2 goals. In our opinion, we gave them the 3rd goal, just not where we're supposed to be. Terrible line change on the 4th goal, and then it just snowballs into turnovers and everyone's swinging. And then again, that's when they're coming at you. So we've got to control those situations much better, and we've got to make it much harder for that team to play. They're going to create chances on their own. Don't give them any, and we gave them quite a few last night.
Chris Johnston, Sportsnet.
Hi, Rick. Earlier in the playoffs, you mentioned, some of the challenges of living and playing in the bubble. I'm wondering now that you've got to the point where there's so much on the line, do you think it's easier for the players to keep their focus in there, or is that still an ongoing challenge?
I think every day here is an ongoing challenge. It's nice if there's light at the end of the tunnel, and this whole thing, it is coming to an end, and we're playing for the Stanley Cup in the finals. But so every day is a challenge, and every day you've got to find ways to refocus and get fresh mentally and physically. But every day living in this bubble, it's a challenge. And we said before we got here, the team that handles this day-to-day grind in the bubble is going to give us the best chance to win the Stanley Cup. I'm very proud of our guys. They've handled this incredibly well. So we've had our moments, like last night in the second period, where there's lapses mentally. I don't know if that's, I don't know if it's tied to the bubble or not, but we're in the finals because we've handled this whole thing very, very well. Our guys bought in before we got here, and they're still buying in. There's going to be lapses, and some of it's mental fatigue. There's no question about that. We got to overcome it.
Kevin McGran, Toronto Star.
Rick, every year the teams that make it to the Stanley Cup final or go deep, they have their Black Aces on hand. And I mean, how do you run a sort of a successful Black Aces program to keep the guys engaged for when you need to call on them? And is the bubble this year making it even harder on those guys because there's nothing else for them to do other than to practice?
It's making it much harder for those guys. So you give our kids a lot of credit on the Aces because they've worked incredibly hard. And when we've needed them, like Nick stepping in and Kiwi stepping in, they've been ready to go. our coaches have done a great job keeping them fresh on the ice with different drills and games and doing everything we can to keep them as fresh as possible, mentally and physically. But it's a lot harder on them not knowing if or when they're going to play. But so give them credit. They've worked very hard. Again, they know the light's at the end of the tunnel now. We're getting there to the end of this. But I give those kids credit. And when we needed them, they were ready to go. So you tip your hat to them and our coaches for doing a great job with them. But that's a tough task to ask someone, okay, you're going to be the next 9 weeks, you're going to work hard every day, and we don't know if you're going to play. So, and you're making we're going to leave your family, and you don't know if you're going to play. So those are great sacrifices. But again, when you're in the Stanley Cup playoffs and you're in the Stanley Cup finals, we have to make it all worth that while.
Sean Shapiro, The Athletic.
Hey, Rick, I'll take the injury question here. I think there's 6 guys to ask about. Bishop, Como, Radulov, Gurianov, Johns, Faksa. What do you got for us?
Bish, Johns, Faksa, still out and fit to play. Radek should be fine. Dennis should be fine. Blake would be a day-to-day.
Matt DeFranks, Dallas Morning News.
Hey, Rick, in the Colorado series, you mentioned how having a back-to-back changes the thought process in terms of goaltending. Are you guys at the point where you're comfortable with Anton playing both sides of a back-to-back now?
Well, again, we'll just worry about tomorrow night, Matt. We'll worry about Saturday when we get there.
Rob Tichkowski, Post Media.
Yeah, hi, Coach. Going on to the back-to-back things, I know it's the same for both teams and there's no travel and everything, but this late in the playoffs, are you okay with having a back-to-back, being a coach of a 34-year-old goaltender? Are you all right with this? Is it necessary just to shave one day off the bubble?
Listen, we saw the schedule. We knew there was a back-to-back, so you deal with it, and we will deal with it the best we can. We will make decisions when we get there based on what will give our hockey club the best opportunity to win.
Arpon Basu, The Athletic.
Hey, Rick, I'm wondering if you could describe just the factors that go into your decision when you decide to load up the one line with Radulov and Sagan and Ben, and when you decide to sort of spread them out on different lines. What are some of the – how does it change the look of your team, and what are the factors that go into that decision?
It all depends on how the game is going and how they're going. They've been together a lot for the last couple of years, as you know. They weren't having a lot of success early in the year, so we split them up, and we had Rads play a lot with Pav. So it just gives us flexibility when things aren't going well to move some of those guys around. And again, a lot of it depends on how the game is going. Rads takes those 2 penalties last night. So it kind of disrupts your lines for a while too. But everything is just the flow of the game. If one guy's not going, then we have no hesitation to move some guys around. But most of it's based on, are they creating offense? We need that line to generate offense. They were doing a pretty good job of that last night. Puck didn't go in. They had a great first period. Puck just didn't go in for them.
Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Rick, you've got a couple of top players in Sagan and Ben in particular that are trying to find it. You talked a little bit about it last night. You talked a lot about the bubble and the effect that it can have on guys. And I just wonder, they're used to pressure, but does being in this bubble environment, struggling to find it, do you think it's making it more difficult for some guys to figure out a way to pull it out because you just don't have the same ability to get away or find whatever you need to find personally?
Yeah, you can't get away and relax anywhere, that's for sure. But listen, it's we're all in the same boat. We've all been here almost 9 weeks, whatever it's been. You just got to keep challenging yourself. That's all we can do, and try to stay as fresh as we can. And at least there's some signs that they're getting more offensive chances. When you're getting those chances, all of a sudden you score. And living in the bubble becomes a little easier. But when it's not, when you don't, then it just stays. It's just magnified a little bit too much. So because you can't get away from it. But we're seeing some encouraging signs that they're generating really quality chances. and you just got to hope that one of those is going to go in, and that'll take a lot of the stress off of them for sure.
We'll take a couple more for Coach Sean Shapiro, The Athletic.
Hey, Rick, have you seen enough from Jake Ottinger to, like, when we talked about the back-to-back in the Colorado series, you mentioned kid's never played a game. He's gotten into 2 games, and I know it's real limited work. Is there enough from Jake to even look at him as an NHL goalie right now?
He's had two periods. And hasn't had a lot of work, and that's all we have to go on. So we have all the faith in the world in Jake. We do. He looks great in practice, and we know if his name is called, he'll be ready to go. We have a lot of faith in him.
And last question, Dan Rosen, NHL.com.
Yeah, Rick, back to, some of your top guys. I know you've touched on a little bit. Ben's got no points. Sagan's got no points. Radulov, no goals, and a couple of penalties that you probably want to not take. Realistically, can you win this series if this continues for them in that day? Can you rely on your role guys to win the series, or you need your best players to be your best players, like the old adage says?
Yeah, every team needs their best players. So again, we made it this far. We're in the Stanley Cup Finals. I know we're down 2-1, but we're here. We're in the finals. We're here by committee. That's how we got here. That's how we're going to keep battling. We've had a lot of guys step up and score big goals for us. The Kiwi, Tadrick, Dennis, Joel Hanley the other night. Riggs got 5 goals. We're here because of a committee, because of team play. Hasn't been focused on one line or one guy, but that we're in the Stanley Cup Finals. We made it this far by committee. Do we need more from the top guys? Every team does. So we're hoping that's coming, but until it does, and if it does, then we're going to keep battling, and we're going to stay in games and give ourselves a good chance to win based on team play and everyone contributing at different times. So that's why we're here. We made it here with by committee, by team play, and we're going to keep the focus on that.
Thank you, Coach.